So much for joining us. Hello. How's everybody doing today? Hope you're enjoying your February. We're just coming off of Valentine's Day weekend and President's Day. And now we're looking forward to talking a little bit about Black History Month. But we're hoping that right now you've got time to look at your taxes, get your taxes in before April. That's one of our announcements today. And also, if you're first-time home buyers, February, March, and April are the top months to actually go out there and purchase your new home. So we're going to be talking a little bit about that today. So is Violeta here yet, Daniel? Maybe not. Okay, let's talk a little bit about February and what we've got going for February. Well, February is an in-between month, which people are coming off of New Year's Eve, and they're kind of closing out everything in January, and they're getting ready for the new year. So really, New Year starts in February for those in the financial world. This is when we start our wheels turning, and this is when we start talking about new homes for this year, what our goals are for this year. We start talking about what loans we need to close for the summer. We need to talk about your taxes and how you can prepare your taxes in between now and April, because when taxes come up, April 14th, it's a whole new story. A lot of times when mortgage companies are looking at your loan, if you have filed, we need actually the last 2 years of tax returns in situations where we're going full documentation. So a lot of times if people have got their taxes not filed yet, it's not April 14th, most loan officers and most lenders are going to ask for 2022 and 2023. Right after April 15th, this is when we start asking for last year. So it will be 2023 and 2024 that we're actually going to be asking for. So this is a good opportunity for those who are self-employed. A lot of people who are self-employed, they write off a lot of different entries on their taxes and their income. So even though they can be making $600,000 a year after taxes and after writing off and deductions, they may only end up with $200,000 a year. So sometimes it's a very crucial point for us, for people filing their Schedule Cs or filing their sole proprietorship businesses before April 14th. So if you have any questions about your taxes, if you're doing your own taxes, if you're a small business, or maybe you've got like a 1099s sideline job, independent contractor that you do against your regular job, sometimes it really does behoove yourself to reach out to a CPA or a tax accountant. And not to put anybody down, but H&R Block or Liberty Tax or Tour Tax, that's wonderful for a lot of people. But if you're self-employed and you have some type of employees, and you've got different types of expenses, you may really want to go to an independent certified public accountant or somebody who actually does tax returns and helps people file their quarterly business tax returns. You might as well start looking for somebody right now. And when April comes around, you'll be fully prepared. The last thing you want to do is wait for April 1st and say, hey, I don't have my taxes. I don't know what I need for my taxes. You don't want to wait till April. You want to start gathering things here in February. So let's make sure that you get that started. If you're an independent person, you are working W-2 or an employee, you want to make sure you've got all your W-2s. I've got some clients who have a full-time job. Maybe they started another job. Maybe they ended a job in March, and then they picked up a new job in April. But then you're going to have two W-2s. If you are an independent contractor, like sometimes I do music on the side, so I'll get 1099 for my music, and then I'll have maybe 1099 for my church, and then maybe I'll have my W-2 for doing mortgages for my company. So you want to make sure you check your mail. Make sure you check your mail anywhere from January 1st to sometimes, February 15th for those W-2s and 1099s. So make sure you've got everything you need to file your taxes. And like I said, you don't want to wait till the end of March and you're scrambling. You don't want to wait until to April 10th or 12th to decide to do your taxes. Let's start getting those forms in now. Other things that you need for taxes, you're probably going to need the insurance that you have paid on your mortgage. You may need interest statements from your savings accounts or your checking accounts. Sometimes they ask for car tabs because that is tax deductible, or that can be weighed against your taxes, your utilities, or what have you. So make sure you talk to a CPA or an accountant early on right now here in February. Don't let March 1st come without talking to somebody about your taxes and without starting to prepare for your taxes. So that if you do need to get more information or you need to research more paperwork or receipts, you have a whole month to do so. Okay, I hope that sounds like a good idea. So Daniel, is V here yet? Is she here yet? Maybe not. Yeah, so we're going to be talking about Black History Month today. And I know there's a lot of celebrations going on in Seattle. And nationally, Black History Month is something that we all participate in. For me, it starts off with the Martin Luther King celebration, which is the third week in January. But we really want to pay attention the whole year round. There you are, Via. Are you there? Let's see if Violeta's not there yet. Let me go ahead and check and see, make sure everything's okay with her. Maybe she doesn't have the link. But let's go ahead and talk about Black History Month. Okay, so I'm half Black. A lot of people don't recognize me as half Black, what have you. But I celebrate. I went through the 1970s and late part of the 60s when it comes to Black history there in Seattle. My family was one of the first 5 Black families that originated in Seattle, which is the Lombard family. So there's a lot of history. And so for those of you out there who are not celebrating Black History Month, or maybe you're not African-American, there are still reasons to celebrate Black History Month. There are a lot of achievements that we have made. There's a lot of inventions that we have made. There's a lot of contribution to the community, a lot of contribution to the sciences, to the maths, to creativity, and to the arts. A lot of these projections or things that happen in the African-American community were gifts to the world. And so, of course, you may not be African-American, but you can still celebrate Black History Month. So let's talk about Black History Month really quick. Black History Month does take place in February. In February every year. There are more than 400 years of Black history and heritage here in the United States of America. So for everybody, it's going to be a little bit different how they celebrate Black History Month. When it comes to mortgages and real estate, there's still some things that we actually have to overcome when it comes to being a minority or what have you. So for me, particularly in mortgages and with real estate, that's one of the main focuses that pushes me into looking into Black History Month and celebrating Black History Month. Now, Seattle does have a lot of, I keep hearing things go back and forth there, but V, are you there?
Is it me that's making a noise? Sorry.
All right, you beautiful lady. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Sorry, I'm late. I had issues with my computer.
Okay, that's fine. That happens every now and then.
Yes. Go ahead. Keep going.
Well, V, we were just talking about Black History Month and how it's pertaining to everybody. And I was just telling our viewers that just because maybe you're not African American, but that doesn't mean you cannot celebrate Black History Month because of all the achievements and the contributions the Black community has done for the United States on a worldwide basis in the first place. So I was just sharing with everybody, I'm also African American. People don't realize I'm half. And we were one of the first Black families that originated here in Seattle. Way back in the day. So there's a lot of history there. So real quick, I'm going to give them a definition of Black History Month.
Yes.
It's annually observed a commemorative month originating in the United States, also known as African American History Month. It began as a way of remembering important people and the events in the history of African American heritage. Initially lasting a week before becoming a month-long observation since 1970. It is celebrated in February in the United States and in Canada, where it has received official recognition for governments. It'll also be celebrated in Canada and in Ireland and the United Kingdom in October. So that's great. That's great. Okay. So, yes. So So I was just telling everybody, when it comes to housing and real estate, this is the kind of thing that we talk about. So tell us a little bit about what you've got.
Did you go over the fair housing?
Not yet. Saving it for you.
Okay. So there is a federal law that protects people from discrimination, all kinds of people, whether it's gender, race, color, religion, sex. So I said that disability, family status. So you can't really, I got into this this past year where I was doing agent remarks for a listing, and I had enclosed, fully fenced backyard for your pets and your kids to be safe. And I couldn't say kids.
Okay.
I could say the pets.
Yeah.
no kids, no mention of family gatherings. I guess it was kind of weird. I had to take that off my comments. But national origin, Tina was talking about that, and financial resources. So discrimination by landlords, real estate companies, banks, and other lending institutions. This happens all the time, right, Tina? And just can't do it.
Yes.
Everybody, I can't someone to an area and say, hey, this is a great area, but it's only for Asians. You don't want to live here. Let's find something else for you. So that's not allowed. Right. It's called redlining. Is that right?
That's correct. Tell
people not to go to certain neighborhoods, block them from going there. And so there's a lot of protection for buyers out there. So you can go look at any house you want. And agent should be open to taking you in, unless too, as an agent, if a homeowner who wants to list their house says, I don't want any Black people coming in here and moving into my neighborhood, so make sure you don't have any African American people, and they can't come into my house, and you can't sell it to them. So I would have to say, I'm sorry, I can't work with you. We are not allowed to discriminate, and you should talk to someone else or talk to a lawyer. They will tell you same thing. Anyway, how much time we have? I pulled some several houses, because the Rainier Valley of Seattle, very diverse neighborhood. So many cultures live in that area.
Yes.
Area in the U.S. and I know that the average prices of homes in that area is about $775. And Daniel, do you have those homes? Here's a few of them. I took a look at the outside Seward Park, $709,000. It's a 3-bedroom, 1 3/4 bath, 2-story home. It's a townhouse, and it's beautiful. Look at the inside. Here's the snapshot of the living room, and then the kitchen next to the living room, and then an outdoor space upstairs, up on that rooftop that you see up there. And you can do whatever you want up there, put in a barbecue, gazebo, whatever, just a simple seating area like they have right now. I believe that's for staging. But and then the next one I have is in an area called Lake Ridge, 755. And it's a 2-story, I think it's a split entry, 3-bedroom, 2 3/4 bath. But look how much they've done to get this updated. And then outdoor space is kind of a big thing right now. Everybody's featuring the outdoor space. We're into the spring market where it's starting to heat up. Inventory's coming in, and people are thinking about spring, summer. And so we're looking at an outdoor space that is very usable right next to, I believe that is the dining room upstairs. Right. Let me look at the last one, Daniel. It's in the 800 range. It's where did it go?
On Skyway?
Let me see. I lost the. Oh, here it is. This is it just says Seattle. The address is, oops. Let me see. The address is Hazel Street. Do you know where South Hazel Street is?
No, I'm just guessing.
I looked at the area around Rainier Valley. So it's in the valley somewhere. Okay. And it's a 1-story with a basement. You're looking at the front door, looking right into the living room there with a fireplace. Nice masonry work around that. And then the kitchen. I think there's a little island thing to the right of that opening. And then outside again, we're looking at a patio with seating there. And that home for $800,000 has 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. So that's what you can look at in the Rainier Valley. I think these are beautiful, updated homes, and now quite affordable. So if you want to look at any of these or any others that is available, there's a lot of inventory that I saw. And again, the Valley has averages at $775 for housing, and these are typical of what you will see out there.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Nice.
So are these homes in the African American community? Is what?
Yeah. Well, it's in the valley. It's a lot of it is diverse cultures. So I can't really say African American community.
Yeah, I know a lot of the communities. Like I went to Immaculate Conception Church. I was a music director there for years. That's in the heart of the Black community. So is Mount Zion, and a lot of Black churches are up there on Capitol Hill. And you know what's so sad about it is that a lot of those homes were paid off many years ago, and the taxes, the kids were inherited the houses. The taxes were so high that the people could not even afford the taxes, even though the homes were paid off. And so gentrification came into account, and people from different colors, nationalities came in and bought these houses up and drove up the prices of the homes. You know, a lot of us kids during the 80s and 90s, you just said, we're out of here. So we flew to Bellevue, to Renton, to Federal Way, to Mill Creek. You know, we just said, we're out of here. And so a lot of us moved to different neighborhoods. You know, my mother stayed right up there in Upper Rainier Beach. You know, she lived there for years, what have you. But it's like there's, you know, and I have a lot of friends who live right there on Lake Washington, the Stewart Park area. Most beautiful homes, tennis courts, swimming pools, everything else in that neighborhood. And what happened was a lot of them actually built wealth, but then the taxes were raised. You know, some taxes in Seattle went up to $30,000 a year on a single family home. You know, that drove a lot of people out of the neighborhood, and gentrification opened up. And so a lot of these communities actually were, were spread out. And a lot of times people bought these homes. There was a time there where we all kind of reinvested in the neighborhood. We wanted to reinvest in Capitol Hill. We wanted to invest. But the thing is, a lot of redlining, a lot of stereotypes, a lot of people don't want to move into certain neighborhoods. And so if you say, hey, I want to live in a certain neighborhood because my church is here, my work is here, my family's here, a lot of times those values do not appreciate. So somebody who bought a house in Federal Way, 20 years ago at $200,000, maybe it appreciated to $600,000. But if you went to Bellevue, in a classically non-diverse area, you bought a home of $600,000. Now it's worth $1.8 million. Exactly. So it's shocking to me. I had a girlfriend this weekend that came up here, and she had a family that was making an offer on a house in the Issaquah Highlands at $1.8 million. And it was something like 2,400 square feet. So it's something how, gentrification, it's something how, communities and diversity and stuff really affect the value of homes, which is very unfortunate. So there's still a big hill for us to climb. I remember, Violeta, a lot of people in White Center don't understand how White Center got their name. There are a lot of deeds and covenants. There are over 10,000 deeds and covenants in Seattle alone, where it states on the deed you cannot sell this home to a Filipino, to a Black, to a Hispanic. There are a lot of neighborhoods in Seattle where the deed says you cannot show a home to anybody of color. Of course, those deeds are not enforced. And they had similar deeds in Miami and in Florida. Those deeds were overturned, but in Seattle still, even though it's not enforced, those covenants are still on deeds in Seattle. So they're
working to clear that up, right?
They've been working to clear that up for 15 years, ever since I've been a mortgage loan officer.
Yes.
And they have not. The Asian Real Estate Association actually attacked Miami and in Florida, and they got some things overturned in Florida. But Washington State, we're kind of like, we feel like we're so blue that everything's fine. Well, it's just like someone wrote something with graffiti on my wall that was very racist, and I just paint over it. No, it's not that at all. It's just that the belief systems that we still retain here in Colorado and Washington, they really need to change. And one of the things that they do, highlighting African American History Month, just highlighting that. It's just highlighting that there are other people in the world. There's other people that make the world go round.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of other people that make the world go round. And it's so sad. I have some clients, that will call me up, and they're African American, and they say, Tina, I don't know what my wife wants, but I want to buy in a white neighborhood. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, what do you mean? Well, I want to have a movie theater. I want to have a Starbucks. I want to have a bowling alley. I go on and on and on. Because typically in African American neighborhoods, there's no development, which is also sad. So that's something you have to talk to your politicians about. Right. So when you try to build a home around your church or community, a lot of these communities, because there is racism still in our culture, the white communities don't come in. And a lot of times that property value stays very low. So when you do the right thing and try to stay in your community, you will not afford the same. You will not gain the same. You will not gain the same value in your home than if you bought in a typically non-diversified area. So that's something that we need to overcome. I mean, there's no sense, buy a house, 5,000 square feet Federal Way for, let's say, $900,000, and you go to Issaquah, it's $2.4 million.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like, okay, do I buy cheap or do I buy somewhere and get investment? So, there's a lot of things that we have to deal with. There's still racism out there. There's still systemic racism. There's still gentrification. There's still redlining. And V brought up a very good point. She was talking about redlining. Redlining is basically when a bank or an insurance company takes a map and they circle 98118, and they say, hey, we're not going to give any insurance for people in this 98118 area. And they draw a red line around a neighborhood, and we're just not going to do it. And I remember I lived in the Rainier Valley off of the Rainier Avenue in Cloverdale. I had guns going off every night, boy, dang. And I mean, talking about living in the hood. And I remember Acorn, there was a nonprofit called Acorn. They'd walk around and knock on our door and make sure we were involved. But there was a severe redlining going on in the, what was that, 1990s, early 1990s, that affected the whole neighborhood. Of course, my house like quadrupled in value and everything else. But had that house been in Bellevue or Issaquah or Redmond, I'd be a billionaire right now. Just in the amount of money, just depending on the different areas. So when you're buying a home, you do want to talk to your realtor and find out what's going on with the property value here. What's going on with diversity. I mean, if I want to get Filipino food, can I go to the store and buy Filipino food? If I want pho, can I go there? If I want to get, if I want to do certain things, can I do that in this neighborhood? Are there any churches in this neighborhood that celebrate with me?
And then, what I'm noticing is 2 of the 3 homes that I showed you have HOA dues attached to them. And maybe it's their way of saying, hey, this is a really valuable neighborhood. We've got security happening 24/7. I know of a few of those up in the Redlands. And then that house, the dues are $400 annually, so that's like $35. Again, what does that include? $35 a month could be the security or utilities of some sort, but they're kind of making it a point that this is a valuable neighborhood. So we want people who live here to be secure, feel like they're getting something else of value when they buy a house in this community. Don't you think?
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. An HOA does kind of give you some type of security. There's a group of people who've got the same goals of home ownership. So he makes a very good point. Those homeowner dues actually are a plus. They are a big plus. Although they don't like me because I never rake the snow in my front yard, so they always get a fine. But anyways.
Okay.
But no, it's just really weird because when I bought in my neighborhood too, I had people saying, "Oh, you're Mexican, you're this, you're that," and I had neighbors who didn't want to invite me to parties and stuff because I didn't share the same color skin. And that's here. This is in Colorado where I live now. So there's still a lot that we have to overcome. I'm a single woman. I beat a couple that was not minority, and it was a couple. They were older than me, and I beat them. So it wasn't a good situation for the neighbors around here because they didn't really like me to move in. But I did. And the neighborhood filled with diversity. There's Filipino across the street, Filipino next door, Asian, Korean, Vietnamese, Chinese. So we just filled the neighborhood, and we said, okay, whatever. So, so I mean, as far as, Black History Month, I mean, get out there. If there's church celebrations, if there's parades, if there's jazz, concerts, what have you, get out and meet the people in your community. Find out what parallel goals that you have with each other. And the more you know, the more we can grow, the more we can unite. So as far as Black History Month, you do not have to be African-American to celebrate. And so, Daniel, I know you said don't forget about the Rainier Avenue Radio's Black History Month Museum. Yep. Can you give us a little bit more about that? Yeah, here we go here. The College of Conscious Black History Month Museum, February 1st to the 28th, and that is in Rainier Avenue. So make sure that you click on that QR code, get your information to go visit that museum. And so thank you.
Have a special announcement, right, Tina?
Yes. So our heart breaks, and we'd like to give our condolences to Ness Rodriguez, who passed away this past week. A good friend of mine. He is a historical legend. He has done so much for the Seattle music scene, and where he's going to be sorely missed. But we ask that his legend continue on. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yes, love you, Ness. Thank you so much for all your contributions. Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right.
Yes. Well, yes, and I guess that's it. But so next week, V, what we're going to talk about next week. I was telling everybody how spring is the time to start looking for a home.
Absolutely. Yes. We'll take a look and planting too.
Yes.
You know what?
Mhm.
I heard the weather report is that I think look forward to March 21st as the best time to start your gardening, because there might be chances of frost or colder weather between now and then. So we'll postpone our gardening thing to the month of March. But yeah, absolutely. It's houses are springing up everywhere. Inventory.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes. So if you're thinking about buying
Don't
home,
miss
February,
out.
March, mhm, give Violeta a call. Let her, go out there and show some houses, and let me know if you need
Yes.
pre-qualification. We'll be
Yeah.
happy to help you out. Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you,
Great.
everybody. And then we do want to focus on senior housing.
Yes.
A lot of
Mhm.
options there for
Mhm.
families, and we'll talk to you again next week. All right.
Mhm.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Yes. We'll see you next time. Mhm.
Okay. Bye-bye.